wasn't.
No, but if you believe in God, then God made the world, so therefore God would give the disease to the baby. As I don't believe in God.
Okay,
I don't
so
think...
if your mum gives birth to you and you get cancer, your mum gave you cancer.
Well, no, it'd be God's plan to give you cancer. So why would God give you
your
cancer?
mum made you, so everything that you do must be your mum's fault. Everything that happens
Well,
to you
no,
is the fault
apparently
of your
God
mother.
made us. God made us.
So am I to blame if I kill someone? Is my mum to blame if I kill someone?
Wait.
Is my great-granddad to blame if I kill someone? No, that's ridiculous.
No, your mum's to blame if you kill someone.
No, because you're changing the subject now. You're on about killing people. I'm on about God giving diseases and famine.
The whole idea of using something as a metaphor is to take a different situation to this one.
God sees all sins the same. You might as well kill someone if you can do it properly.
What? God sees all sins the same. What?
He does. That's true. Then if you're gonna sin, he does.
Where's it say that in the Bible?
Does God sees all sins? All sins are. See, all sins are equal in the eyes of God. Verse.
Where does it say that?
You ready? Right.
It says, James chapter 2, verse 10, for whoever keeps the whole law but fails in one point has become accountable for all of it.
Get off Google Answers right now.
That doesn't mean that everything you do is the same. It says every sin in itself is in itself a sin. Therefore,
you're wrong,
everything
okay?
is a sin.
Can I just say something?
No.
This is deep shit.
Okay, so what makes you sure? What makes you so sure that God doesn't exist then?
What makes me so sure? Because I refuse to believe in him.
Because Peter's a faggot. No, that's why.
So I refuse to believe. I refuse to believe that there is
the original
invisible flying turtle in the sky. Does that mean there isn't one?
God's just one big hipster.
Why did the hipster burn his tongue? He drank his coffee before it was cool. Doesn't mean God exists. No,
it just means you can't prove he doesn't.
Well, you can't prove he does.
That doesn't mean
I think he does, and I have pretty strong evidence.
That doesn't mean I have to believe he does.
You
myself.
You have a book.
Okay then, think about this. The ontological argument is...
and going, oh yeah, I believe in this God who's like a tiger.
Microphone muted.
The life of pi.
Nigga, what the fuck did you just say?
Oh man.
Do you actually understand the principle of the story, Life of Pi? Do you understand why it's trying to prove God?
Because he was high.
Wait, Life of Pi is trying to prove God? And the fuck
it's trying to prove existence of God. Well, it's trying to prove that it's better to believe in God than not.
Noah, right, you ready for it?
You're going to say you don't care?
Wait for it. That right there was all the fucks I give in the world. Okay?
Good one, Joe, because that shows your intelligence by refusing to argue because you don't have a viable comeback.
I don't believe in God. I don't care. I don't want to hear your argument.
You're the one who started this. I just said I'd been to youth group. You guys just jumped on me. I'm just trying to defend myself. So stop having a go at me and shut up if you don't care, because it's actually quite annoying.
Yeah, no, God doesn't exist. Okay.
Good one, Dave. Well, you don't have the intelligence to back up that claim, so there we go.
You have a book, so...
That's relevant how? Exactly, so shut your mouth and sit down.
Alright, I'm sitting down. But God really doesn't exist.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. Shows how clever you are. Intelligent right there. Oh, wow, that's really mature, Dave. You really know how to form an argument.
Wait, should we now go on to your internet being slow?
Oh, so you're going to divert the conversation in order to try to defeat me in some way possible, just by saying that you have a faster internet than me somehow makes you superior in some way, which is ridiculous.
It just seems how I'm an atheist and I have faster internet than you.
Okay, so
therefore God doesn't exist.
You've just created everything. You've just created a valuable argument against me. Valuable, that's not the right term. A viable argument against me. I failed to see the logic in your argument, Dave, by shouting random statements that God does not exist, which is not forming proper argument anyway.
Is Jared changed his name to Boner Enabler?
Yeah. Oh man, I've lost this, man.
I'm pretty sure Jared just recorded the whole conversation, so...
Oh my god, he did. He's muting his mic so he's not laughing that hard. I must say, I had to mute my mic there for like 10 seconds just so I could burst out laughing because I was fucking wetting myself. Deep breaths, guys. Yeah. Jesus, man, that guy, big up.
There we go. So, drop the conversation, guys. Did you record that, Jared?
I wish I'd have recorded you, Reed. All we need now is to force you to rage quit to turn your computer off.
What, me to rage quit?
Yeah.
I'm not going to quit.
No, the actual whole reason I mentioned that was because when you were gone, we said the only two things that piss you off is people trying to disprove God and your internet speed. So I just thought legit I'd give that to the test, and, you know...
Well, turns out it was true.
But FYI, God doesn't exist.
Well, Dave, I have the intelligence to back up my claim to believe in God. You don't have the intelligence to back up the reason you don't. You just say God doesn't exist, and that's the end of it. Now that is not intelligence. So if you're going to make an argument based around a stupid opinion,
give me a reason why God exists.
Everyone quiet. Let's know an explanation as to why God exists.
Okay, then let's do an ontological argument. Okay. Now, God. You can think of God in your mind, can't you? You have an idea of God, yeah?
Oh my God.
Now, do you get the basic principles of what God is?
No, spaghetti monster.
You're a retard, Dave.
You just say spaghetti. I'm losing it, man.
If you understand the basic, if anyone understands the basic principles of what God is supposed to be, so God is supposed to be. God is supposed to be all-knowing, all-powerful. He's supposed to be perfect in every single way. Now, a perfect being cannot just exist in the mind. So by being able to imagine him, in himself he has to exist, because the nature of the thought of God is in itself the creation of God. Even if he exists before anyone thought of him, by thinking of God, you are creating him. Which is one argument.
Wait for it now, right? Can I just ask something, right? Okay. So the world was created, yeah. Nobody had ever thought of God. Everything was made. People were alive. And then all of a sudden someone thought of God. And then he's now alive and he created the world all of a sudden. Can you explain that for me, please?
No, I don't believe that. I believe God has always been there.
So why the fuck did you just give us that argument?
What do you mean? That is a argument. There's 17 main arguments.
Oh my God.
The ontological.
And he shows the one.
Could you catch to repeat those for me?
What?
We're not gonna live.
Can you repeat those for me? I'm recording.
We're not.
Okay, so the teleological argument. You heard of Paley's watch, haven't you? You probably
I hate that argument.
You hate the teleological argument.
Yeah.
Teleological. Why you call it teleological?
Ollie, you and me talk.
Okay, so the Paley's watch.
Yeah.
You're walking in a desert. You find a rock on the ground. You pick it up. You look at it and you say, "This rock obviously wasn't created by anyone." Yeah. This rock is a rock, and it's always been there, and you don't think about it.
That rock.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's just a rock though. And then when you walk it, a bit more, and you look in the sand, and you pick up a watch, a watch. You don't think that watch has always been there. Like you think when you look at the rock, you think that watch was created by someone because it's so complex. Now, if you take the world or the universe in itself as a whole, you understand that each individual part of the universe has to work in a specific way for a specific thing to happen. Okay. So with if one little decimal of this whatever was off, and the world wouldn't work in the way it works today, and we probably wouldn't be alive. Now, compare that to the watch and the rock analogy. Now, the rock is extremely simple.
I've heard it before.
I'm talking to people who don't actually understand it, not just you.
Okay.
So the rock is simple, and you could say it's always been there.
Where are we going, Ollie?
But the watch isn't simple, and you can compare that to the world, because the world isn't simple. It's extremely complex. Now, why would you believe the world has always been there, but not believe the watch has always been there?
Yeah, but David Hume presented the criticism of the teleological argument, saying that it's a
let's see what Wikipedia has to say.
Analogy. So, because you haven't witnessed the design of the universe, you don't know whether it was a result of an actual design.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Therefore,
because you haven't witnessed this, you can't really know what it is. Okay, so you didn't witness your granddad being born. How do you know you're not just a robot who's been thought that you are a human?
We don't know
Could
that.
be a robot that's thought I was a human.
So you think you might be a robot?
Maybe.
Well, there's intelligence right there. There we go.
God, there's intelligent right there. It's like your best friend. Imagine your best friend.
Your argument doesn't make any sense. You're using an old argument, like made in 1820 or whatever.
You're saying you believe in a magical guy in the sky?
I don't believe in a magical guy in the sky. I believe in God. There's a difference. So
at least I don't have to believe in a guy who just fucking flies around next to
you don't understand the basic principles of God. You don't understand the basic principles of God. You think you have this kind of box idea of God that you could just put him in a box and say you don't believe in him, put him in a corner. That isn't how it works, Dave.
All I know, if God was real, the suffering in the world wouldn't be half as much as it is now.
Okay then, so if you decide to kill someone, was that God's fault or your fault?
Okay, no, if your entire family died yesterday in a house fire or something.
Yesterday? I wouldn't be on now if they died yesterday, Dave. Today. Tonight, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, sorry.
Okay,
yeah, the other one.
So we're saying it's going to happen. This is a bit risky.
Of course I would.
How, though? How can you possibly believe in God?
God didn't cause the house fire, Dave.
Well, who did then? Satan.
Humans caused the house fire. We did.
Aliens.
We are to blame for our own actions.
God could prevent that, though. God could do something. He could say, "Hey, no, let's not do this."
Okay, then. So if okay, yeah, you create a kid. No, you create a kid, yeah, with whoever, girlfriend or whatever. Make a kid, and yeah, you keep telling this kid, yeah. This is a situation. You keep telling this kid not to touch that stove. If you touch that stove, you will burn yourself. You say that to the kid. You touch the stove, you'll burn yourself. And that kid keeps reaching for the stove. Yeah, and you keep slapping his hand away. You do it for about 3 or 4 years. It gets pretty annoying. Now you know if that kid touches that stove, he will learn that he'll never touch that stove again because he's going to burn his hand.
Him to touch the stove?
No, you could just not. You could just not slap his hand away. Exactly. Would you?
Stove and your whole family burning in a house.
It's an analogy, Dave. You don't understand the concept of an analogy.
Yeah, but that analogy is simple. The other analogy is far more complex to what we're actually saying.
No, a metaphor is when you use a different. Okay, then you understand. You understand, Dave. You can't just say it's apples and oranges with everything, Dave, because it isn't. Some things actually apply to other things.
You're sort of using weak analogies to prove something that's a lot deeper than what it actually is. Or
okay, then. The thing with the stove. I don't care what you're saying, Dave. The thing with the stove.
I don't care what you're saying. Typical Christian attitude. I'm right, you're wrong.
There we go. I don't care what you're saying in this situation because your argument is invalid. Because you're not allowing me to speak. And even Joel agreed to that. You're not allowing me to finish my analogy because you're trying to say the way I'm making the analogy is wrong.
I can barely understand you, so I don't actually have a reply. But in your mind, it's because you're smart and you know everything.
I don't know everything. I actually know very little. That's why I can't say for certain that I can't give you 100 hard evidence that God exists. I can't because if there was, everyone would be religious, wouldn't they? And you'd think this argument is not going to get us anywhere because people have been discussing the idea of the existence of God for thousands of for eternity.
Ollie, let me get this kill because I got. Oh, thanks.
Pre-Platonic flipping philosophers were still thinking about this kind of stuff. Now. Pre-Plato, so Plato, the philosopher. So pre-Plato. So it's okay then.
Some pretty deep shit going through here, guys.
I was going to say.
It's if you want me to continue, I can. But if you just want to, because I'm getting kind of bored of this, I'm not going to get anywhere.
What you were saying about the hot stove, though.
Okay, so the kid is touching a hot stove over and over again. Yeah, he keeps putting his hand towards the hot stove, and exactly. Yeah. Now, let's just say that God, let's say you were God, let's just imagine that God exists, okay?
Okay.
So you keep telling these people, you create people, and you keep telling them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and every single darn time they flip and do it.
Yeah.
And that if you read the Bible, you'll see that that's what the story kind of relates in a way. Now, it gets to the point where God says, you know what, I'm going to let you do what you want. Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Now, to God... I don't know, a few billion children in Africa dying. That might not be.
It's like a kid touching hot stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the grand scale of things. On the grand scale of things, he knows that he's seen eternity in front of him. So to us, a few million Africans dying is a big thing, but to God, that's nothing. It's just as such letting a kid touch a stone. It's not a stove. It's not really. touching a stone. He picks up the watch later. No, it's not really a big deal for a kid to touch a stove. He may cut himself for a while, but you can compare it in the same way. Now, Dave's saying it's a completely different thing, apples and oranges, but it works in the same principle. I'm not saying that this proves God's existence, but I'm saying it does support the idea of biblical texts and religious
you sounded quite
things, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's because when someone speaks, it increases.
If God was going to love everyone, and it does
make
say
it sound
God's
better.
powerful and God loves everyone, etc., and all that bullshit. So
you're going to say, how can a loving God allow evil and suffering?
3 million African children to burn and suffer, so we can suffer. We can, learn from what we've done, our mistakes.
What?
Surely that wouldn't be.
Okay, listen to this. God's all-knowing, right? Would you agree? If God exists, God's all-knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you're younger and your parent does something, and you're like, "Why the hell? That is not in my best interest. That's ridiculous." Yeah. And then when you are older, you learn that what they actually did was in your best interest. Now, the only reason you thought that was a bad thing is because when you were younger, you didn't have the capable brain power to understand what was actually happening. You couldn't understand it. So you assumed that what was happening was the fault of your parent. Now, apply the same situation to this. Now, that's an analogy, Dave. Now...
Oh, that's an analogy. Yeah, I know what an analogy is now.
Okay.
So basically, what we've got to do is that our current generation and hundreds of years in front of us have got to die so that in like a million years' time, the human race behaves properly.
So why couldn't God just make this?
It's a bit different in the Bible. Basically, what happened was, this is what the Jews believe. What I just said there was what the Jews believe. Now, the Christians, they believe, like me and my religion, well, a majority of them, believe a lot of crazy stuff.
Ollie, help!
But I believe that Jesus, and Jesus did exist, there's more proof for Jesus existing than there is the life of, like, Julius Caesar. So, you can't really disprove that Jesus existed.
Yeah, but you can't prove that he did all the miracles that he did.
Jesus,
exactly, that's what he's saying.
but there is evidence that he chose to willingly die on a cross. Willingly. Like, he gave himself up.
He could have had some kind of fucking mental problem that caused him to do that, or...
Okay, there is first-hand accounts of seeing him after his death, which is a bit odd.
Ollie, help.
Oh, when you die and shit, and you see Jesus, but
there's actually lots of accounts of seeing Jesus after he died, like, historical accounts.
Oh my god, I'm so going to die. Not Jesus way, but I'm going to die.
Now, also... Listen to this. Paul.
Yeah, Axe's
Peter. Before Jesus was killed, Peter said that he didn't.
You're not actually rehearsing this from the Bible or something.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say any Bible verses. This is history. Peter said to the Romans in a statement. I don't know if this is true. I made this crap up. Right. I don't know if he did it in a statement, but I know in the Bible it says Peter said he denied God 3 times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that he had nothing to do with God. He wasn't willing to die for Jesus. He wasn't willing to die for Jesus. He was like, no, I don't know that guy.
That connection.
Oh, no. Do you want to know how Peter actually did die? After he saw Jesus... Yeah, he was crucified upside down.
I've watched the
because
I know this shit.
He said he believed he didn't have the right... died. Now, what turns a man from denying Jesus 3 times because he just doesn't want to get a whipping to willing to die? Yeah, willing die.
They liked that sort of thing in those days, didn't they?
Well, I don't know.
Jesus liked getting whipped.
We have saying change excite me.
Basically, you understand what I'm saying. Trying to say.
God. No, leave him alone. I'm
the opinion of Pete changed.
Oh, you haven't got yours.
Jumped you.
What'd you say?
Yeah, can we just give up now? Because I'm not saying that God exists, but
there is no.
I just want to play Dota.
Really, there's no way to prove either way. I've been doing religious studies at school for at college since we started, and yeah, it just happens that this is every single religious studies lesson. I've got Dad in my class, so it doesn't really change.
Bitch, please! I got an A* in religious studies.
Okay then. But yeah, I've got Dan Fair, so it gets worse on days.
Wow, you're such a dick, Jared. Legit, God doesn't exist. Aaron muted me.
Stop it.
Ollie, we really need to go talk about it. Can you please unpriority note now so that me and Ollie can hear each other while we're playing Hon?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay with God.
Oh, thank God.
Yay!
You're just gonna like.
But it's funny. It's funny to hear you. It's funny to hear you angry because it's not very often that we get to hear you angry, or at least in a heated argument. So we do it for our own amusement.
No, a heated discussion, Joe.
Yeah, but I mean, someone better than Dave to argue against me because it's kind of like.
What are you on about?
Oh,
that makes no sense. No.
Oh, Dave, it's obvious you don't actually know what you're talking about.
What? No,
Sorry.
you just say some random shit and spout it out really, really fast, and then you pretend like you know it. Which half the stuff you're actually saying could not be true.
Ollie, help.
Okay, what did I say isn't true?
Oh, snap.
I don't know, you just talk so fast I don't fucking understand you.
Okay then, so you just said, you talk so fast, I don't understand you, but what you're saying isn't true. But if you can't understand me, how would you know that it's not true?
Well, because I'm just guessing, though, that you don't actually know exactly what you're talking about. You're just
that's a good way
putting
to form
pieces
an
together
right
that makes it fit.
I made this shit fit in the bin.
You know what? Even if this does seem like I'm losing right now, I don't care, because I'm just going to end the conversation right now, because I can't be bothered with it, because I just want to play a game.
Power.
I didn't come here to discuss theology.
He came to
play Dota, really.
Yeah, he came to
preach the word of God.
Yeah.
Is that Dave's mechanical keyboard or someone scrunching up a packet?
Dave mechanical keyboard typing in like
It was fast speeds.